Hey, Junior, this is a long book, and it's meant to be read right before going to sleep, and that's why it's called the Sleep Book. See, it says, this book is to be read in bed. So maybe while you're settling down and getting ready for sleep, you can listen to this story. It's a little bit long, but it might put you to sleep. The news just came in from the county of Keck that a very small bug by the name of Van Veck is yawning so wide you can look down his neck. It may not seem very important, I know, but it is, so I'm bothering to tell you so. A yawn is quite catching. See if we can see this and read this at the same time. A yawn is quite catching, you see, like a cough. It just takes one yawn to start others yawning off. Now, the news has come in that some friends of Van Veck's are yawning so wide you can look down their necks. At the moment right now, under 7 more noses, great yawns are in blossom, and they're blossoming like roses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wait a minute, and 8. I guess it's 7 plus Van Vleck. The yawn of that one little bug is still spreading. According to the latest report, it is heading across the wild fields, through the sleepy night air, across the whole country, towards every which where. And people are gradually starting to say, I feel rather drowsy. I've had quite a day. Think I'm going to start yawning soon. Creatures are starting to think about rest. 2 bifferbum birds are now building their nest. They do it each night, and quite often I wonder, how do they do this big job without making a blunder? But that's their problem, not yours and not mine. The point is, they're going to bed, and that is fine. They're building their nest, getting ready for bed. Sleepy thoughts are spreading throughout the whole land. The time for night brushing teeth is at hand. Up at Herkimer's Falls, where the great river rushes and crashes down crags in great gargling gushes, the Herkimer sisters are using their brushes. Those falls are just grand for toothbrushing beneath, if you happen to be up that way with your teeth. So there they are, brushing their teeth. I hope you brush your teeth before you go to bed, too. The news just came in from the castle of Krupp that the lights are all out and the drawbridge is up. And the old drawbridge drawer, it just said with a yawn, my drawbridge is drawn, and it's going to stay drawn till the milkman delivers the milk about dawn. I'm going to bed now, so nobody better come around with this special delivery letter. He's tired. He's yawning too. Wants to go to bed. The number of sleepers is steadily growing. Bed is where more and more people are going. In the Culpeper Springs, in the Silt Walkers' Hall, the Stilt Walkers' stilts are all stacked against the wall. The Stilt Walkers, I just said that. The Stilt Walkers' walks have called it a day. They're all tuckered out, and they're snoozing away. This is very big news. It's important to know, and that's why I'm bothering to tell you so. So these are all stilt walkers. Have you ever seen a stilt walker? It's kind of hard to do. Way out west in the town of Merced, the Hinklehorn Honking Club just went to bed. Every horn has been quietly hung on a hook for the night in its own private Hinklehorn hook. Sometimes these tongue twisters are hard to say. This long, happy day, they've been honking about the Hinklehorn honkers have honked themselves out. But they'll wake up quite fresh in the morning, and then they'll start night in the Hinklehorn honking again. Whew, Hinklehorn honkers. Now that's a pretty interesting creature. Everywhere creatures are falling asleep. The collapsible frink just collapsed in a heap. So he must be a collapsible frink. To the others before, I am able to give you the who's asleep score. Right now, 40,404 creatures are happily, deeply in slumber. I think you'll agree that's a whopping fine number. Counting up sleepers. Just how do we do it? Really quite simple. There's nothing much to it. We find out how many, we learn the amount by the audio tally count. On the mountain halfway between Reno and Rome, we have a machine in a plexiglass dome. This is a machine that helps them count, which listens and looks into everyone's home, and wherever it sees a sleeper go flop, it jiggles and lets a new biggle ball drop. Our chap counts those balls as they plop into in a cup, and that's how we know who is down and who is up. That's a very interesting machine to count all the sleepers. Do you talk in your sleep? It's a wonderful sport, and I have some news on this sport to report. The world champion sleep talkers, Joe and Mo Redzoff, have just gone to sleep, and they're talking their heads off. 55 years now, each chattering brother has babbled and grabbled all night to each other. Your dad can tell you I talk in my sleep sometimes. They talked about laws, they've talked about gauze, they've talked about paws, they've talked about flaws. They've talked quite a lot about old Santa Claus. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you should take up the sport. It's just fine for the jaws. Except if you're asleep, you don't know that you're talking in your sleep. Do you walk in your sleep? I just had a report of some interesting news on this popular sport. Near Finnegan Finn, there's a sleepwalking group which not only walks, but it walks a la hoop. Every night they go miles. Why they walk to such length? They have to keep eating to keep up their strength. Eating and walking in your sleep. So every so often one puts down his hoop, stops hooping, and does some quick snooping for soup. That's why they're known as the Hoop Soup Snoop group. Say that fast several times. Sleepwalking, too, are the curious Crandalls who sleepwalk on the hills with assorted candles. They have candles on their head. That seems dangerous. The Crandalls walk nightly in a slumbering peace, in spite of the slight burns of the hot dripping grease. So don't walk with candles on your head. The Crandalls wear candles because they walk far, and if they wake up, they want to see where they are. So I guess that's the reason. Now the news has arrived from the Valley of Vale that a Chippendale mupp has just bitten his tail, which he does every night before shutting his eyes. Such nipping sounds silly, but it's wise. He has no alarm clock, so this is the way he makes sure that he'll wake up at the right time of day. His tail is so long he won't feel any pain till the nip makes the trip and gets up to his brain. In exactly 8 hours, the Chippendale mupp will at last feel the bite and yell, "Ouch!" and wake up. See, that long, long, long tail takes 8 hours from that bite to get to his brain, back to his brain. A very strange alarm clock. Mr. and Mrs. J. Carmichael Knox have just gone to bed near the town of Fort Knox, and they, by the way, have the finest of clocks. Lots of clocks. I'm not at all sure that I quite understand just how things work with that one extra hand. Hey, yeah, that clock has 3 hands. Most clocks only have 2. But I do know this clock does one very slick trick. It doesn't tick-tock, it goes tock-tick. So with the ticks in its tocker and the tocks in its ticker, it saves a lot of time and the sleepers sleep quicker. I don't know how ticks help sleeping. What a fine night for sleeping. From all that I hear, it's the best night for sleeping in many a year. They're not even asleep in Zweiback Motel. Oh, they're even asleep in Zweiback Motel. And people don't usually sleep there too well. Now, why would they not sleep there in a motel? The beds are like rocks, and everyone knows the sheets are too short, so they don't cover their toes. See, all their toes are sticking out. So if people are actually sleeping in there, it's a great night for sleeping. It must be the air. Oh, it's a great night for snores. I just had a report. Some of the boys who are on top of this musical sport, some of the snortiest snorers in all of our fair land, are the Snorter McPhails and his Snort-a-Snort band. This band can snore Dixie and Old Swanee River. Bet your dad doesn't even know those songs. So loud it would make 40 elephants shiver. The loudest of all the boys is McPhail. He snorts with his head in a 3-gallon pail. I guess that makes it very noisy. So they snore in a cave 20 miles out of town. If they snored closer in, they would snore the whole town down. Well, that must mean they're very, very noisy. Do you know who's asleep out in Funa Laguna? 2 very nice Funa Laguna baboona. Baboona? We've added them into our Who's Asleep count, which has grown to a really amazing amount. Exactly 8,808,000 creatures are sleeping now. Isn't that great? A lot of people sleeping. Oh my goodness, look at all of those yellow things. Jed is in a bed, and in a bed of Jed is the softest of beds in the world, it is said. He makes it from pom-poms, so that's what those yellow things are, pom-poms. And he grows on his head. And he's sleeping right now on the softest of fluff, completely exhausted from growing the stuff. I guess it takes a lot of energy to grow pom-poms. The news has come in from the district of Doft. There are 2 oft asleep, and they're sleeping aloft. And how are they able to sleep off the ground? I'll tell you, I weighed one last week, and I found that the oft is so light, it weighs -1 pound. That means it floats up, has no weight at all. A moose is asleep. Let's see that. A moose is asleep, he's dreaming of moose drinks. A goose is asleep, he's dreaming of goose drinks. That's well and good when a moose dreams of moose juice, and nothing goes wrong when a goose dreams of goose juice. But it isn't too good when a moose and a goose start dreaming they're drinking each other one's juice. Moose juice, not goose juice, is juice for the moose, and goose juice, not moose juice, is juice for the goose. So when the goose gets a mouthful of juices of the mooses, and the moose gets a mouthful of juices of the gooses, they always fall out of their bed screaming and screaming. So I'm warning you now, never drink in your dreams. Speaking of dreaming, I think you should note that the Bumble Tub Club is now dreaming afloat. Every night they go dreaming down the Tub Creek, except for one night every third or fourth week when they stop for repairs because their bumble tubs leak. But tonight they're afloat, full of dreams, full of bliss, and that's why I'm bothering to tell you this. So they're floating along in the Bumble Tub Creek. At a fork in the road, in the Vale of Vavode, every 5-foot weary salesman had laid down their load, and all day they've raced around the heat at top speeds, unsuccessfully trying to sell zisserfoot seeds, which nobody wants because nobody needs. Don't even know what it is. So tomorrow will come, they'll go back to their chore, they'll start on the road, zisser-zoofing once more. But tonight they've forgotten their feet are so sore, and that's what's so wonderful, what the wonderful night is for, to rest their poor feet. Everyone everywhere creatures have shut off their voices, they've all gone to bed in the beds of their choices. They're sleeping in bushes, they're sleeping in crannies, some of on their stomachs and some on their fannies. They're peacefully sleeping in comfortable holes, some even on soft-tufted barber shop poles. The number of sleepers is now past the millions. The number of sleepers is in the billions. They're sleeping on steps and on strings and on floors, in mailboxes, ships, and keyholes of doors. Every worm on a fishhook is safe for the night. Every fish in the sea is too sleepy to bite. Every whale in the ocean has turned off his spout. Every light between here and Farfoodle is out. And now adding things up, we're way beyond billions. Our who's asleep score is now up in the zillions. Wow, that's a lot of numbers. 99 zillion, 9 trillion and 2 creatures are sleeping. So how about you? When you put out your light, then the number will be 99 zillion, 9 trillion and 3. Good night, Junior.